Welcome back to the Taproom Exclusive. I'm Dean Zarbaugh. I'm here with Dan Jozwiak. We are at Saucy Brew Works here in Cleveland. We have moved on to the Love You Buy. It is a hazy IPA that you guys do. It's a big trend in the IPA world right now. There's a really cool poll. Another podcaster actually put up. Hop in the Bean put up a podcast poll. What do you like better, the hazy IPA trend or the brute IPA trend? And the hazy was really outweighing the brute when I voted. It's a really nice trend. We were talking last week about IPAs. It's a love it or hate it kind of style. This is a nice gateway IPA style. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, and I think like what we were talking about before, the bitterness aspect of IPAs and the hop bitterness is really what can make it or break it for people. That's that dividing line exists. That's real.
Yeah, absolutely.
And these are a much lower IBU, so bittering unit kind of threshold.
And that's what I tell people is if they come in and they're asking me for something, and they tell me they don't like IPAs, I say, well, what have you tried? And they always tell me something like it has 100 IBUs or 75 IBUs and stuff. I'm like, okay, find some. Those are great for people who like it. You're not liking it. Find something a little less. Find something that's
well, but even those 100 IBUs. I mean, in the early 2000s and even 90s. That's what IPAs were.
Right.
It was the more bitter, the more better.
Absolutely. That was the trend.
Right.
That was the hazy IPA trend of that time. And that's what I like. I like a big bitter IPA. I like hazy IPAs too. I love this trend. I think for people who aren't used to it though, that this is a nice way to kind of get them into it because it doesn't have any quote-unquote bitter flavors. I feel come from more like a fruit bitterness rather than like a hop bitterness. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's all about the when the hop additions happen and what types of hops you're using. I mean, for Love You Buy, I mean, we use Citra, Mosaic, and Matu hops, which is a Southern Hemisphere hop.
I've never heard of it.
It's kind of like the Matuaka, in that vein of
interesting.
Hops. Yeah, so I mean, those are all very fruit forward and citrus forward driven hops, and when you add them into the process, in the late part of the boil, you just don't get a lot of bitterness out of them. It's all flavor and aroma, right?
Yeah.
So you keep the IBUs on these hazies are coming in at 50 to 60.
Yeah.
Versus, up into the 80s for most of the traditional Imperials and regular IPAs,
Absolutely.
But that threshold for people, honestly, most people, it's 30 to 40 IBUs. That's where it starts to tip into this is just too bitter for me attitude,
No,
so,
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, I mean, so they're just coming in at a lower bitterness, and they're so fruity and refreshing. And for me, honestly, the mouthfeel of the hazy IPAs is what really differentiates it. It's got almost a creamy, orange juicy kind of a mouthfeel to it.
And for people who don't, I get a lot of questions about how does the hazy appearance come about?
There's a few different ways to do it. So a lot of breweries are using either a lot of wheat in the grain bill or oats, which are both, there's been hazy beers around for centuries, and we call them Hefeweizens, right?
Yeah, you're right.
So,
right, absolutely.
And those are very wheat-driven beers, and half of their grain bill is wheat usually. So they just have a lot of protein in the grain, and it doesn't fall out of the beer like a malt protein does.
Okay.
So it just sits in the beer and makes it look hazy.
Nice.
But they also add a lot of mouthfeel and texture to the liquid because it's kind of basically thickened up.
Yeah. And then the next step is basically those milkshake IPAs.
We're adding lactose and things like that to it, right?
Stuff like that. It's got a nice, creamy, lighter mouthfeel to it. The Love You Buy, it's not very, very bitter. This is one of my favorite hazy IPAs, and it's been a very popular beer for you guys. This was actually like a one-off for you guys, so not a one-off, but like a seasonal type thing. And then it was so popular that it's actually made it into your core lineup this year in 2019. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta. I don't want to say chase the trends, but you've got to put out there what people want, you know. And people are looking for IPAs or hazy IPAs on a regular basis, and we offer a good one, so why not let the masses have what they want?
Absolutely. It's nuts to hear about this beer, this one-off was so popular that it goes from just being a seasonal to a core offering.
It's pretty common. I mean, especially brew pub offerings and things like that. Like our seasonal in January, Modern Crimes was a brew pub only beer that we made.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and, it just it did really well here, and it was we didn't have a dark beer in our lineup, and people loved that one, so we moved it into our seasonal rotation. And
nice.
But I think it's a pretty common thing in the beer industry, though. You do a one-off that's very successful, and you're like, just put it out there and see what it can be as its own thing.
Yeah, it's this is going to be one that as a year-round, because there's a lot of people who come in looking for like a hazy IPA, and a lot of times they're usually just like a seasonal or a one-off or something. Somebody just trying to experiment. It's nice to have something that I can come in year-round and go, okay, I'm going to get this. It's going to be fresh. It's going to be good, and it's going to just be what I want it. What is some of the flavors, the profile that you get specifically on the Love You Buy?
Again, it's got kind of that moderate to low bitterness as an IPA. It's right around that 60 IBU mark. But I get a lot of the like pineapple and kind of not like passion fruity kind of flavors out of it. The citrus is there as well. Most hops just have a citrus profile to them, but it's just more of like a orange peel and pineapple and in that vein of flavors. Yeah.
What if someone was getting something here to eat? What would you say they would go well with the Love You Buy?
Man, I haven't looked at the menu, to be honest.
Well, you guys do a lot of pizzas.
Yep.
You guys are, and you've expanded your menu a little bit.
Sure.
You've recently started adding like mac and cheese and wings and stuff. Like I said, I had the pulled pork sandwich, which was absolutely fantastic. I feel like a lot of the pizzas, any of the pizzas could kind of go well. I mean, you guys are known for your pizzas.
No, absolutely. And our chef does a great job with the dough in particular. That's my favorite part. It's
the bread on that you guys use on that pulled pork sandwich was all my dad and I were complimenting. I mean, outside of the fact that the pulled pork is fantastic, that bread was good.
Yeah. No, it's a kind of what do you say? It's a cold fermented dough.
Okay.
So like they use yeast in it.
Yeah.
But it's chilled when it's fermenting, so it becomes a little more dense. It almost has like almost like a saltine kind of consistency as a pizza crust. So but it's very flavorful and just delicious. I love the pizza here.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys knock it out of the park.
Going back to your question here, I'd take a peek at the menu, but
no, it's all good, man.
The mac and cheese with the Love You Buy.
Oh yeah,
that would be where it's at.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge mac and cheese nerd.
Yeah,
I love it. I think it's a Thanksgiving. It deserves a place at Thanksgiving, but not a lot of people agree with me on that one.
That's a Southern thing, right?
I feel like it is, and I only lived in Florida for like 2 years, so I don't know where I got it from. But I feel like mac and cheese is specifically it deserves a spot on the Thanksgiving table.
Green bean casserole in Ohio.
But it's nice, right? No, absolutely. Yeah, nobody knew what a green bean like what when I lived in California. Like no. But mac and cheese, that's a great option because neither one's going to overpower the other.
Yeah, IPAs with like a cheddar cheese is, man, that's a great pairing.
Yeah.
The acid balances each other very well.
And that would be a really nice. Oh man, See, this is the problem, is I do these shows, and we talk about the food pairings, and then I'm just like, I just ate. I just had the sandwich, but now I want more food. It's like, the downfalls of doing this show.
We'll have a little bit more. I haven't eaten lunch yet, man.
Oh, wow. Then you need to get some food in you.
I know, right?
So, what, outside of, when this originally was brewed, was it just the keeping up with, hazy IPAs are just the trend? We're going to put out a hazy IPA and just make it as good as we can?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I know I've had some conversations with the brewer and about it, and he really kind of fought making this style in particular just because he's not a guy that necessarily wants to chase trends and things like that. Mm-hmm. But he actually has, after brewing the first one, he's like, man, really kind of appreciated the technical aspect of brewing it.
Nice.
Because you can make bad ones, just like any IPA, right?
Right.
But just how many hops added so late in the process, and the balance of keeping the bitterness low, and keeping the mouth feel right, and that kind of thing. It became a challenge,
Oh yeah, and then I'm one of those guys, like, I have a challenge. I need to overcome it,
right,
in order to just move on. I can't move on until I've done it.
Right. Keep trying it over and over again until it's right.
And it came out fantastic. You guys also do like a juiced up version of the ASAP. I've had that. That's usually on in the summer.
Yeah, so it was another one-off we did this past summer.
I came in
Uber
here.
ASAP.
Yeah, the Uber. I came in and had that. That was so good. That was one of the best beers I've ever had. Like, legitimately, I'm just like, wow.
We've got some
really, really cool stuff. You guys do some really cool one-offs and stuff over here.
Yeah, and IPAs are obviously something everybody wants. Like we've talked about, 40% of the craft beer market is an IPA. But we're putting a few things out over the next month or so, actually, that are going to be awesome. We're doing the Resilience IPA from Sierra Nevada.
Sierra Nevada.
Yep.
All the proceeds are going towards the fire relief out in California.
Yep, for the campfire that happened. And we're putting that on tap this Friday, actually, which is the 14th of December.
Nice.
That's very cool. And we're donating 100% of the proceeds to the to the relief effort, which is awesome.
It's been great to see the call to arms.
Oh, it's
from
amazing.
Everybody,
was it like 1,000 breweries across the country?
Breweries across the country came together they sent you the recipe, and then you brew the recipe to their specifications, basically, right?
Yeah, they're reimbursing every brewery for the ingredients.
Wow.
And you put the time in, you brew the beer, and you tap it. It's not anything that's ultra creative, but it's a nice 7%.
It goes
Centennial and
but it's
Cascade IPA,
and the money's going to a great cause.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to be a good beer.
And you guys do a lot. Yeah, absolutely. Sierra Nevada doesn't make bad beer.
Right.
You guys do a lot of charity work. You guys have done a lot of great benefits for people here in Ohio City and everything. That's a very cool thing that I think that the craft beer industry does, is just how community minded this industry is, and that resilience and going to that is just shows how much this industry appreciates the people around it.
No, absolutely. I mean, you got to take care of your neighbors, and one of the charities we've worked with quite a bit here at Saucy is called Breakthrough Schools.
Yeah,
it's a charter school in the Cleveland area that does things a little differently and has been very successful. And we donate our Hefeweizen, we donate 50 cents from every pint sold at the pub to Breakthrough Schools.
Nice.
And that's every time it's on, we do that.
That's great.
We've done some stuff with the Cleveland Clinic and a bunch of other myriad of good charities out there in the Cleveland area.
Absolutely. There's a ton out there, and it's great to see the breweries working with them. And it's a great way to do that. Come on down, have a great beer, have a beer. You're going to have the beer anyway. and then some of the money goes towards a great cause. It's a great way to go about it. Anything I might have forgotten to get into about the Love You Buy?
No, I mean, I think we covered the style pretty well, and glad you enjoyed it. You finished already.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite beers here, man. Thank you, Dan, for your time. Tune in next week for the finale of Saucy Brew Works feature here on the Taproom Exclusive.